There is one simple reason why your website hasn't generated any leads in the last maybe ever. And no, it's not because you don't have paid ads or some SEO trick. In fact, it has nothing to do with traffic sources at all, although I'll go over that too later. It has to do with fixing the one simple metric that most website backends don't even track, the capture rate. I'll give you the simple formula to track it yourself and then the step-by-step process to raise your capture rate today. I'm Levi Jones. I'm the founder and head coach of Guerrilla Realty. And in this video, I'm going to help you begin to generate leads from your website. I mean, actual names and numbers of buyers and sellers looking for real estate in your area. I want you to think about it for a second. Name a problem in your real estate business that couldn't be solved with more leads. And what if those leads were coming to you rather than you having to cold call through a list? That's what fixing your capture rate on your website does. By the way, I do a full 1-hour training on our best method for driving free traffic to your website, and I'll include the exact step-by-step, repeatable ads, and everything you need to execute it. All you have to do is like this video, share it with another agent who generates no leads from their website, and then comment shared below. I'll send you a private link to the full resource. Here's what I'll cover in this video. First, I want to talk about why most real estate websites fail at lead capture. The truth is, most real estate websites look great, but they're terrible at generating leads. In fact, the average site captures less than 1% of visitors, which means 99% of your traffic is just leaving. Then we'll talk about the key to fixing your capture rate. The good news is fixing this isn't complicated. A high converting site is simple. Give visitors what they want, home search, free listings by email, and even a clear home value tool, and put those behind a capture tool. And finally, we'll talk about how to drive the right traffic to your site, both free and paid sources. Even the best website is useless if no one visits it. That's where driving traffic comes in, whether it's free ads on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or paid traffic with pay-per-click campaigns. So let's jump into it. When I first got into the business a long time ago and I built my first website, I was told by all the marketing experts that content was king. I had school reports, weather, financial calculators. I had a detailed, regularly updated blog with articles about mortgages and credit, as well as community events. And that's when I discovered that content was not king. And most of the website experts don't actually know anything about real estate marketing. That's why most agents nowadays simply settle for their company-provided site or their social media pages as their web presence. The problem is that social media isn't designed to capture leads, and the average real estate website captures less than 1% of the traffic that comes its way. Now, let me break down what that capture rate means for you. A 1% capture rate means that if 100 visitors came to your site, you would generate only one lead through a form fill out, proactive reach out, or otherwise. And social media traffic figures aren't public, but the capture rate is probably even worse. And you can imagine why most marketing to your website doesn't actually end up generating you leads. After having a real estate website for over 20 years, and I should say multiple websites, what I have found is that content is not king, but simplicity is. Simplicity is king. So now I only have 3 things on my website. I don't have weather reports, all that kind of stuff. In fact, I have the same 3 things that Zillow offers. There's a reason why Zillow has become one of the most popular real estate websites out there. Now, you can think what you want about Zillow, but that's the truth. Consumers love it. In fact, Zillowing has become a verb. People Google for web searches. They Google things. Now they Zillow things for home searches. And so the number one thing I have on my site is a real estate home search. Then I have actual property details. Because a lot of the ways that I drive traffic to my site is through property listings, I want to have the details of those listings on the site so when they get there, they get exactly what they want. Price, in-depth photos, etc. And then finally, and this is a big one, I offer a free CMA on my site, the ability to find out what their home is worth. Again, Zillow does this with a Zestimate. My CMA is 10 times better. We call it the bulletproof CMA. And I offer the ability to find out what their home's worth in a real, tangible way when they come to my site. Once you've simplified your site to include only things that are actually valuable to consumers, the next step is to hone in your landing page. And a landing page is simple. It is the page that your customers first see or land on when they get to your site. And there are some reliable elements on every landing page that converts. Again, we've done this for 20 years. The first element is that it can't be ugly. It's got to be an attractive looking site. Now, this is less of a problem now than it used to be back in the early 2000s. It also has to stand out from the crowd. So if you're using your company provided site and you work for one of the big box brokerages, it's unlikely to stand out because it looks like the hundreds of other agents that have the exact same website. If we want it to convert, we have to have it look good, and we have to have it be unique and stand out from the crowd. The second thing is we want to have social and authority proofing. Now, here's what I mean by that. When you go to a real estate website or when a consumer comes to your site, they don't know you. They don't have any reason to trust you, why they should give you their information, or otherwise contact you proactively. So what we do is we're going to borrow authority from brands that and names that they do trust. I'll show you what I mean by that here in a moment. We also can borrow authority from people that they know or reviews that they trust. Okay. Then we have information about the value that we're going to provide. Again, we can't expect them to reach out or otherwise be interested in interacting with the site in any way if they don't know what kind of value they're going to get from the site. And then finally, we have a crunchy call to action. I say finally, I have one more element, but it's much less important. The crunchy call to action, or CTA, is very simple. We want to give the customer a direct link between, hey, if you do this, then you will get this outcome. If you leave your contact information for me, you will get XYZ information. Okay. And then the final element is just the CYA stuff. We want you to be in compliant with your local board, advertising rules, et cetera. You cannot, in most jurisdictions, run a ghost site. In other words, you have to have your information, your brokerage information, et cetera, et cetera. So let me show you a version of one of our landing pages that we're currently running. So this is one of the websites and landing pages that we run right now, and it has a capture rate of between 30 and 40%. Again, to put that into context, the average real estate website has a capture rate of 1%. In fact, right now ours is running steady at 37, but it does hover between 30 and 40%. So here's some of the elements that it has. So first of all, it has a crunchy call to action. Hey, click this button. It's implied to get the free access to compare all the top home searches. And that's where we actually include links to Zillow, Trulia, or Realtor.com, school search websites, as well as our local IDX. Okay. Then we have the social authority proofing. So we borrow from the Realtor brand, the MLS brand, Equal Housing Opportunity. These are sites that maybe even subliminally customers know and trust. And so when we have those logos, believe it or not, this actually makes a big difference in terms of how they interact with your site, or if they're willing to interact with your site. And then we have additional information for the value. The CYA stuff is just my name and company name. And then, of course, I have at the very bottom of my site, brokerage, contact information, address, etc., just like you should. So here's another website landing page that we have. This is actually for our single property websites. You'll notice it has a form that pops up immediately before they can access any information. Again, the value that we provide is blurred, so they don't get it right away. We put the form in front of the value of the information that they want. We have social proofing. We have, the crunchy call to action. But the truth is, even if you have all of those elements, if you just throw them up there, you're likely not going to achieve the 30 to 40% conversion rate that we do. And that's because we have spent years with A/B testing. And believe it or not, the fonts that we use, the colors, how we ask the questions, the wording, everything is slightly going to change the capture rate, maybe only by 0.5% or 1%. You start adding up those slight changes, and that's where you can get to the capture rate of 30 to 40%. Again, you don't have to have 30 to 40%, but I would suggest that your real estate traffic driving, your marketing is not going to be effective unless it's at least 10%. The capture rate is at least 10%. And spoiler alert, unless you've actually put some effort into lead capture, you probably are not getting a 10% capture rate on your site. Now, what do I mean? What do I mean by A/B testing? I mean, hey, we drive similar traffic sources to different versions of the site, and then we track the results. We say, okay, this one got 15% capture, this one got 16% capture. Okay, we can reliably go with this option. And again, when someone leaves their information, we require name, email, and phone number. We actually don't consider it a lead unless they've left their phone number with us. Okay. Once they've entered that information in, they get all the value, the information about the site, including buyer's commission rate, et cetera, on that particular property. Again, this is just one example of a landing page that we have that converts very, very well in the 30 to 40% range. But if you follow those elements and you have some reasonable A/B testing over time, you can achieve the same sort of capture rate that we did. We're not geniuses. We've just put the time into it. Now, why doesn't your website or your website creator put the time into it? Here's why. The average real estate creator or the average real estate website creator is a geek. They're not a real estate agent. They don't realize that to have a website means nothing to us unless we can generate leads. Okay, we were in the unique position back in 2004, 2005 time frame when we were building our site. Not only was the internet in its infancy, so there weren't a ton of options for real estate websites out there, but we had some technical know-how to be able to begin to build sites on our own. And we recognized as agents, if we didn't generate leads from our site, it was worthless to us. That's where we came upon this process, and we've basically made lead capture our mission since then, over 20 years at this point. Having a high capture rate doesn't matter if we can't get traffic to the landing page. And you could throw money at it, but I have a better way. So we actually use free traffic sources to do a lot of our testing, and we continue with those free sources to generate a lot of leads. But I will not throw money and spend money on pay-per-click campaigns until I've established through free traffic sources. In other words, I want to do testing for free. I don't want to have a low capture rate and spend tons and tons of money to find that out. So first traffic source is a playbook we call the Zuck. And that's just our playful attempt at naming the Facebook Marketplace approach that we use. I'll link to the Facebook Marketplace video that we've done recently on this playbook and how to drive traffic from Facebook Marketplace to a high converting website. Then we use Craigslist. And yes, you heard that right. We call it the Craigslist killer. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek play at the perception that a lot of real estate agents have that Craigslist is full of scams and murderers and stuff like that. The truth is, none of that's true. If you actually know anything about Craigslist, the users on Craigslist skew more educated, younger, make more money. It's a great source for traffic, and it's specifically a great source for free traffic. Now, once we've established our capture rate, and once we're getting regular free traffic from those sources and we're generating leads, only then would I ever suggest paid ads. And we've used Google pay-per-click. We'll even use Facebook boosting. Now, I typically would not drive traffic from typical Facebook ads that show up in the news feed. And the reason is you're driving people, you're spending money on those clicks, and you're driving people that are not in the home search phase. So they're going to be less interested in the value that you provide on your landing page, and therefore they convert at a lower rate. And when they do convert, they're typically not, they're much farther out. I want to underline that without addressing the capture rate problem, it doesn't really matter how much traffic you generate. Math is still undefeated. You can have a website that consistently generates new inbound leads every single day if you focus your site on generating real value to consumers, and then you ask them for their information before they can access it. I appreciate you sticking with me. Remember, I'm giving away my best method for generating all the free traffic to your website you'll need. It has sample ads, a simple step-by-step, and everything else you'll need to generate that traffic. All you have to do is like this video, share it with a friend who could use it, and then comment shared below, and I'll send you a private link to the training. We also put out new videos like this twice a week, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you next time.
Look, we've doubled our real estate business 3 times since 2019. If you want the full breakdown, exact scripts, step-by-step processes, and our brand new tool, drop a comment below.
No gimmicks, no paywalls. We're sending it completely free because we know it works.
Just type "send it" in the comments and we'll get it to you ASAP.
And if this was helpful, stick with us. We're dropping more strategies twice a week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next.